أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to our respected viewers, and once again I would like to offer my condolences to you all during these ayami aza. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصاب الحسين عليه السلام. And once again, let us try to recall the fact that there was no day like that of Aba Abdullah Hussein's. La yom ka yawmuka ya Aba Abdullah Hussein alayhi salam. During these Ashra Muharram majalises, we have been, really focusing on, how one should improve themselves in their everyday lives, and to understand what is my actual existence. Why should I, come to these majalises, and what lesson, what takeaway am I taking out of it? So today I want to ask this question to everybody. So I know that all of us are in the middle of our vacations right now, because obviously it's the holiday season, and even the children are at home, and everybody of course is getting that opportunity to attend the Muharram majalises. Alhamdulillah, it's a great opportunity. We are so blessed. So yes, the summer sun shines brightly, and many are eagerly, embracing the vacation season. And, we are really reveling in leisurely getaways and joyful reunions. That is very true. But yet, in a stark contrast, there's a harsh reality that unfolds in Palestine, where the heat of oppression and violence relentlessly affects the lives of our brothers and sisters. So while we indulge in the luxuries of freedom and tranquility, they struggle to find respite from the unrelenting grip of occupation, right? And this stark dichotomy raises a haunting question: that can we truly celebrate our own liberation while turning a blind eye to the subjugation of our ummah? So, this is like, it's a question for you and me today, that with all that is unfolding before our very eyes, and it's really like something to think about on a daily basis. How can we even think of, ignoring that what has happened or what has taken place in the past couple of months? The Quran reminds us that whoever is saved from the wrath of Allah, it will be as if he has been saved from a great calamity. So, this is just a short reminder for everybody and for myself as well, that, when we do not help the ones who are suffering around the world, and, we do not give them that support, and we remain silent, then Allah's wrath will definitely, fall on such people. And in order to be saved from the wrath of Allah, one should, give that concern about what's happening uh, in the current affairs of the world, because even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has encouraged us and says in a hadith that the believer is not he who is happy while his brother is suffering. And because we are one ummah together, we should make sure that we are helping our brothers and sisters. My main focus is, of course, about the plight of Gaza and Palestine. When we are by neglecting the plight of Gaza's children, also as parents, like, we are failing to instill the values of empathy, compassion, and justice in our own kids. We're raising a generation that prioritizes self interest over humanity, ignoring the struggles of others to focus on their own fleeting measures and pleasures. So it's time to reflect on our hypocrisy and teach our children the true meaning of Islam, to feel the pain of others and act with kindness and solidarity. Now, this again, leads us to what happened back in Karbala. Again, let's go back in time. What actually was happening in Karbala was the same oppression that we are seeing today. The same Yazid of that time, who martyred Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his family, and all the companions. So Sheikh Mutahari, he says something really, something which is very genius that he says, is that yes, there was a Yazid 1,400 years back who killed Hussein, but that Shimmer, that Yazid, has died. He has been forgotten. But today, our focus should be that who is the Yazid of today? Who is the Shimmer of today? In this era, who is that? So we need to fight against that Shimmer, against that Yazid. So at that time, that Yazid was, also killing children. He also beheaded children at that time. He killed, so many people. And today we are seeing the same thing, that how the children of Gaza were being beheaded. And this time there were weapons being used. There were jets, there were, big missiles that were used, and a lot of other things, right? And also, just to add on to everybody's knowledge, that when we talk about even Yazid of today, it can have several definitions. The shaitan is a very smart enemy, and of course he knows how to divert a Muslim's attention, a true moment's attention from the right path of Allah subhanahu wa taala, because the word shaitan actually comes from the root word shatana, which means the person who corrupts anybody. Like, it's like a concept, it's like an ideology. Anything which corrupts a system is called, shatana, and that's why the name shaitan comes from this root word. So shaitan can have a lot of definitions. It doesn't mean that it just refers to this figure, to this creature, shaitan. Of course, it's his name was Iblis, we know that, okay? But shaitan is like his definition. For example, if I have some weaknesses inside of me, so I will say that unfortunately I have those negative impacts of shaitan within me. Do you get it? Like, for example, if a person is sick and they have some disease in them, so you say that this person has been afflicted with some shaitan in them, because shaitan is anything that corrupts the system. So even in any political system today that we are seeing, of course, which is being controlled by these narcissist superpowers, right? How they're able to manipulate people. And I was even talking about this the other day in one of the episodes, one of the series, that how we are today's slaves. We don't realize it, but we are the slaves of today's era. And Imam Ali alayhi salam says that it is better to be a free servant of Allah subhanahu wa taala than to be the slave of this dunya. So, when we think that, oh, we're living a very nice, luxurious life, and, we've got all the materialistic things around us, and we're after worldly gains. But remember when I gave you that example of how a person who's sitting in his amazing BMW is actually a slave of his loans, of his taxes, of his mortgage loans, of, not being able to give time to his family at home, and he's got his work stress, and he's in depression. I mean, this person cannot sleep at night. When he goes to the pharmacy, he needs to go and ask for sleeping pills just to be able to sleep normally. So there are people around the world, who maybe who are like, when they compare themselves and they say, oh, I'm so poor, like I don't have enough in my life, I wish I could have more just like this person. But then when you come to realize and see that actually this person needs to take so many medications in a day and is surviving via medicines and moving along in their lives, for what? They struggled so much in their lives just to reach this position as a human being. This is our nature, that we work throughout our lives, we want to work so hard, we want to achieve the best in life. And what is it costing? It is costing our health, number one. It is costing our mental peace, and it is costing us our time. When a human being, reaches such a stage where now he can, finally sit and relax, what happens is that now time has gone. This person is now aged. There's not much energy and stamina in this person now to even sit or stand or be able to eat normal food. Now this person has to go on a diet. Maybe the person has high blood pressure, cholesterol, whatever, all those things, and now the doctor has told him you can't eat normal food. So you see what happens. And I had connected this to the love for the dunya, hubbud dunya. In Nahj al-Balagha, Imam Ali alayhi salam says that, there are some factors that unfortunately hold back a human being, an insan, from achieving their success in life. And what are those things? Hubbud dunya, the love for this world. And then we had spoken about, the types of love for this dunya. So there is that hubbur riyasa. Hubbur Riyasa is the one when someone has a lot of love for power, for throne, for money. If you're in an office, you have a very high status or position, and you think, oh, I'm the ruler, and I can give around orders, and people will obey me, and I've got full right to do whatever I can. And then people, take use that as an advantage to themselves by manipulating others to do their work. So this is what we see as a characteristic in Yazid and Shimr during Karbala. When Shimr was ordered to kill Imam Hussein and sit on his chest and slaughter, behead Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he was looking at the knife like this, and someone asked him that, what are you doing? And he said, I'm looking at which side I can use to behead Hussein in the worst way possible. And we all know that usually the side which is less sharp hurts more, right? That's why when we slaughter animals, the person who is slaughtering always makes sure that the side which is being used is sharp, so that it is not as painful to the animal. Now look over here how Shimmer was behaving. And then someone asked him that, don't you have any mercy for Hussein? He is the grandson of the Holy Prophet. Like, even now, you don't have any mercy in your heart. But unfortunately, his heart had become so hard because of the love for this dunya. He said that, no, I'm willing to go to any extent to hurt Hussein as much as possible, because I have been promised the worldly gain. I have been promised a lot of properties. I have been promised the throne of Kufa and all these things, and I've been offered women and all the bad things that you can think about. So he said, for that I'm ready to go to any extent to hurt Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So this was one example that we see. And then the concept of jihad. Now let's touch upon the concept of jihad for us today. The concept of jihad is often misunderstood as merely violence, right? So people think, oh, you have to go on the battlefield and, that's how you have to fight with your weapons and everything. That is only jihad. But in fact, it is a struggle for justice. It is striving to uphold the rights of the oppressed and fighting against tyranny. When I was talking about Karbala the other day, I did mention that Karbala is not just an event that happened that one day of Ashur in Karbala, and everybody was martyred and Imam Hussein was killed. And no, Karbala is something that has been going on for a very, very long time. The oppression that has been taking place on normal people, like minors, minority. I gave examples about people who are minorities, the Shia communities in Pakistan, who have been killed over the past so many years just because of being Shia. The people in Bahrain, who protested for certain rights, were killed because they were Shias. The people whom we see in Yemen, who have no place even today because they lost their homes because of the war and everything. Again, the biggest example that we see today is of Gaza and Palestine. that a whole nation was wiped out right in front of the world. It was like a almost a World War III that we experienced, all of us, and yet nobody was able to take a stance. Everybody was silent. All the political powers, all the Muslim leaders could not do anything about it. So what is all this? This is also Karbala, right? Karbala is like when the oppressors have had their way, and they have done whatever they want to do, and do all the wrong evil acts, and they have succeeded in their agenda. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam really wanted to bring a reformation against this wrong agenda. That was his main purpose. Imam Hussein was actually trying to kill this ideology. So this thing is actually an ideology that has is being carried on in today's world, as we are seeing. And Imam Hussein was actually trying his level best to make sure that the right message of Islam is being spread rather than the wrong one. Yazid was just a person, like he was just a person to carry the legacy forward. That's what he was doing. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam was trying his level best to not let this evil person succeed. So this is what Karbala was. Now, today, what is my call to action? What should your call to action be? To stand against the injustices that afflict the innocent. So anything that you see that goes, against, justice, anything that is injustice, yeah, anything that is unjustifiable, and is afflicting the innocent, we should be able to stand up against that and, be on the right path. But instead of answering this call, for example, what happened to the children of Palestine, what are we doing? We are indulging in leisure activities. Like we are just going on normally about our lives, and we are really not doing as much as we're supposed to. Yes, we have tried to boycott the products and everything, but we need to really instill more of these values even in our children. And yes, some of you might even say that, okay, our children are even doing that. And in fact, they are more conscious about it, which is good. It should be, because now we have to do the right upbringing and tarbiyat of our children as well, not prioritizing our comfort over the struggle for justice. I want to, just talk about something very eye opening today for the youths. Yeah. We've been hearing a lot about Dajjal, like what is Dajjal, who is Dajjal. Um, like people still have this, visual concept in their mind, because when we read in the hadith, it says, Dajjal will have this one eye, right? It's going to have that one eye, and, it's going to be a very weird looking creature, and it's going to be very attractive. Like everybody's going to be attracted towards it. Now, let me tell you, Dajjal is not something that we're actually waiting for or something that will arrive. It already exists. It is between us, it is amongst us, and we are looking at it every day. Think about it, properly. As I told you, that it has a one eye, yeah? So think about something that is in your homes that has one eye. And Dajjal also in Arabic means something which is very attractive, number one, and number two, it is deceitful. So Dajjal comes from the word Arabic, Dajjala, which means something that is very deceitful. Okay, and it can keep you so busy throughout the day that even if it's a 70-year-old person, even that person will be completely attracted to that thing. And even if it's a baby, the baby will forget their milk, to drink their milk. They will be so attracted just sitting on this thing and watching it throughout the day. Now you think about it and tell me, what is this? The iPhones that we have, the tablets that we have, the TVs that we have at home, our phones, our smartphones. Think about it. Don't you see that round circular thing that's there on our phones, right? So what is that? And we are full time so much engaged in it, we don't even realize how much time is being consumed. So however, I just want to add one point. Of course, we cannot even stay away from our smartphones, right? It does not mean to stop using technology because of Dajjal, but it is very important to know our limits and to utilize this enemy's technology in a way that leads you to Imam. Because during the time of Karbala, there was a point where, some people in Kufa, when they wanted to support Imam Hussein alayhi salam, but unfortunately, because there was a curfew after Muslim ibn Aqil and Janabe Muslim ibn Osaja and Habib ibn Madahir had somehow sneaked out of Kufa, and they went to Karbala to join Imam Hussein. So when Umar ibn Saad came to know about this, he had put a curfew in Kufa. Now, there were some people who wanted to support Imam Hussein alayhi salam, but they could not go. So instead, what happened was that when Umar ibn Saad, made this announcement that, come on, we all have to go to Karbala to support Yazid, everybody, put their names in that list, and they said, okay, we will. Now, what happened was that during this journey, they used all the resources that of Umar ibn Saad and his army, meaning they ate the same food, they used the same camels, they used the same tents, the shelters, everything, the water, everything. Once they reached Karbala is when they left, they ditched Umar ibn Saad's army, and they supported Imam Hussein alayhi salam. These were the true lovers of Imam Hussein alayhi salam from Kufa. So what do we see over here? That they use the enemy's resources to support Imam Hussein alayhi salam, like for the benefit, for something which is beneficial. So if you're doing something like this for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, for the right message of Islam, then of course this thing is commendable. Because if you know what are the tactics of my enemy, and you know how to use their strengths and their weaknesses against them in your mission, then we should also actually take a lesson from these people. That today, because we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got TikTok, we've got Metaverse. Just even if I talk about the gaming industry, have you seen how powerful the gaming industry is today? Even the smallest game that people play, this Candy Crush game, how oftentimes people are so much indulged, like we're just sitting playing, and someone like even an old person, maybe like 60, 70, 60, 50-year old person is on Candy Crush. Candy Crush is controlled by all these people who have the billionaires and millionaires, of course, who have purchased YouTube, and who are really like profiting themselves so much. Why? Because their main goal is to make all the people busy with social media and technology, so that people are so busy they forget their actual existence. They want to really divert your attention. So these superpowers are really trying their best to control people around them. And the gaming industry is by far the biggest profit which they make from. If you even compare the money that they have collected from that they collect from the music industry and the Hollywood industry, if you combine them together, even if you combine this together, the gaming industry makes more profit even after combining these two. Imagine. So sometimes even when we watch, for example, Netflix, sometimes we say that we're just paying like what, $7.99 per month, like as a subscription. So some people say it's not a big deal, but imagine how much profit the enemies are making out of this. And it's really like it keeps us so consumed. Have you noticed, like one forgets their actual responsibilities and priorities in life, being after these things. So anyways, the main concept, the main idea to tell you all this is that we need to be very careful. We don't realize, we think it's something small, like, so what if I'm playing Candy Crush? I mean, what harm can it do to me? But think about the profit that the enemies are gaining out of it. Yeah. So this is one thing. And then Uh, what can one do? Yeah, the call to action is what? Protect and educate children by providing them with appropriate role models and content. So the other day I was listening to this majlis, and there was this really nice lecture, who mentioned that, if today you ask any child, be it a 4-year old, 5-year old child, that who is your role model, and what will they say? They will give you all the names of the characters, like, you've got what, those superheroes, right? Spider-Man, Superman, the Avengers, right now Paw Patrol, and all these things. Yeah, why don't they ever look into the role personalities of Janabe Qasim, or Janabe Hazrat Ali Akbar, or Janabe Hazrat Abbas, or something like that? Like, this is a very natural question. Even, my child, doesn't say Janabe Ali Akbar and Janabe Qasim and all. And, she's also got her own Disney characters and Paw Patrol and stuff like that. So he was really like asking us that why is it like that, why are the children responding like that? Is because we've not introduced to them the figures of the Ahlul Bayt properly. Like, if you ask a child that why is Bibi Sakina not your role model, so that person will say that because we just cry on her. She was okay, she was taken to Karbala, and then they slapped her, she was given a hard time, and her father died, and that's it. That's all about her that I know. You see, because that's all that actually we know about, because we've not really introduced them about her actual lifestyle, and how she was, as her, what was her personality, what was some special qualities in her. So if we also introduce some maybe animated or cartoon characters with, of course, full modesty, and present it to our children, then they can also start instilling those values in them. And of course we have a lot of that happening right now. We've got like these anasheeds, and some Shia cartoons and stuff like that. We are doing our best, but because we are not that much into mainstream media, I guess that is why our children are not very much attracted to it. It's not like it's out there, mainstream media sort of thing, unlike other things. So this is something that we as parents need to be very careful about, and we need to be very vigilant against harmful influences when it comes to the technology. And I just want to, because I mentioned about Janabi Hadrat Abbas alayhi salam as well, that how strong of a character he was. We hear a lot of narrations about Hadrat Abbas that he was what? He was very loyal, and he was the symbol of loyalty and dedication for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. We hear also that when Imam Hussein alayhi salam was actually very close to Janabe Habib ibn Madahir, who was his very, very true loyal childhood friend. Now what happened was that when Janabe Habib ibn Madahir was martyred on the field of Karbala, Imam Hussein alayhi salam was really struck with grief. However, he did not express his grief at that time. Do you know when he expressed his grief the most, Imam Hussein alayhi salam? When Janabi Hadrat Abbas alayhi salam's arms were cut off, and when the enemies attacked him and surrounded him, and when Janabi Hadrat Abbas fell on the ground, and when he was martyred, and when his eye was pierced with the arrow, that was the time when Imam Hussein alayhi salam went up to him. And when Janabi Abbas asked Imam Hussein that, I'm your servant, I've never asked you for anything, but today I'm asking you if you can wipe this blood of mine from my eye, because I cannot see you and I want to do your ziyarat for the last time, and if you can please forgive me as your humble servant. These were his lines, these were his dialogues. And Imam Hussein really cries and does that. And that is the time when Imam Hussein expresses his true feelings and his pain and grief, saying that, "O Abbas, today al-an inkasara bahri," that today my back has been broken. So from this we understand that how important the character and the the presence of Janabi Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam was for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. That this was, that ending point for Imam Hussein alayhi salam when he could not bear it anymore, and this is how he expressed. And that is why, it's so important that we really try to understand the maqtal and the tragedies of Karbala. There's a lot of depth into it, and inshallah we pray to Allah that we can all try to take out time for these things, like read these books, go into the philosophy of it, try to read the details of what happened in the maqtal. And because when we read that, that's when what will that's how we will come to know that what really actually happened on the plains of Karbala. And it wasn't like a normal story, but it had a lot of depth to it, and it had a lot of sadness to it, and it was not something normal. It was something very, very cruel and oppressing, and it was something which is unjustifiable today, in what Yazid and his army did to not Hussein, but to the grandson of Holy Prophet. He was not an ordinary person. He was the grandson of the Holy Prophet. He was a son of Bibi Fatima Zahra, salamullahi alaiha, and he was a son of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So that's what makes him Hussein. So we, inshallah, try our level best to follow in the right path of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Let us all remember each other in du'as during these days. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.